All right, let's start. So hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Yeah, super excited to talk to you guys a little bit about influencer marketing campaigns, the power of it, and how to start them for your brand and help them be as impactful as possible. So I'm sure a lot of you already are familiar with CreatorIQ, maybe your clients, but for those who are unfamiliar with who we are and what our platform is all about, we are the single source for truth for brands to manage, measure, and maximize their impact in the creator economy. So this allows for global visibility, intelligence, and scale, which are the pillars of influencer marketing success for our customers. So just a little bit about myself before we jump into the meat of this presentation. My name is Zach Donenfield. I am a content marketing manager here at CreatorIQ. And I've been at CreatorIQ for about a little over 1 year. I'm very passionate about content specifically. Obviously, that's my job and my role, but I do love creating content and I love reading it and consuming it. And that includes, a lot of social media content and a lot of what influencers and creators put out. I'm passionate about influencer marketing and then also athleisure. So if you guys have any questions about which brands are my favorite, I like to talk about them nonstop, and my coworkers like to rib me about it frequently. So just know that that's a thing. And then last thing is I'm a cat dad, and she is in this room and you may see her wander around. Her name is Lyra. She's very friendly. All right. So yeah, let's jump into some of the topics we'll be covering today, just so you guys have an understanding of what today's webinar is going to look like. So we're going to be covering the 3 steps to success when it comes to influencer marketing campaigns. So these include setting specific and measurable campaign goals, as well as targets, activating creators to reach your target demographic, and then lastly, supporting your creators during the campaigns to strengthen their impact. So let's start with step 1, which is setting specific and measurable campaign targets. So when you are setting a direction for your influencer marketing strategy, it's super important to clearly define what your brand's goals are and which metrics your team will use to gauge the success of your strategy. So we often recommend brands start by selecting the ultimate goal of their campaign, which will help inform what metrics your influencer marketing teams will track. So examples of specific goals that your team could set could be things like expanding your share of voice and increasing your brand's overall earned media value, which is also known as EMV. It could be driving more traffic to your website. It may be you guys have launched a new product, so promoting the launch of that new product and increasing sales specifically for that. Or maybe it's something as significant as expanding attendance for a particular event that you're launching, in the coming months. So yeah, it's just you want to identify kind of what your goals are and then hone in on that so you can start to build your campaign. The next step after that is to then identify like what specific channels your brand plans to use. So these include, the obvious ones like TikTok, Instagram, and maybe some ones that aren't so obvious to your brand like Twitch. So yeah, the choice of what platform you use is generally going to be dictated by the audience that you are trying to reach. So one thing we often remind our clients is when it comes to getting your message in front of the right audience, not all channels are created equal. And we'll discuss audience targeting a little bit later in this webinar. But for starters, just be sure to leverage social platforms that can easily be tracked by influencer marketing tools, as that will help you provide like a holistic overview of campaign performance. And then the last step here is to set creator-specific goals and then relay those expectations to creators who participate in your brand campaigns. So this step includes aspects of the content you want the campaign to produce. So, these can be things like tracking, total brand mentions. It could be, use of campaign hashtags or how long a product is featured in a creator's content. So it's important to monitor your creator's performance in real time throughout the entirety of a campaign so that you can support the creator as needed and then pivot if something happens to change throughout the duration of the campaign. So let's take a closer look at a brand that got influencer marketing campaigns right, and more specifically nailed step one at setting specific and measurable campaign goals and metrics. So in this case, we're going to look at Eva NYC. So in February 2021, the Brooklyn-based hair care brand relaunched its entire hair care portfolio into something that they called infinitely recyclable aluminum packaging. And this was a move to kind of like reaffirm the brand's affordability and effectiveness to consumers, but also kind of spark excitement around their new push into sustainability. So after identifying increased product sales as like their primary goal, the brand then selected a few key awareness metrics to monitor. So these included things like total EMV, total participating creators, the number of posts, impressions, engagement. And in addition to tracking those things, they also developed a hashtag that they could track. This was hashtag reduce, reuse, restyle. And that was featured in a variety of different educational Instagram stories from creators outlining how they could easily dispose of the brand's new aluminum canisters. So by setting these campaign-specific goals and focusing on their most impactful social channels, Eva NYC succeeded in activating 466 creators to participate in their campaign, and they increased their content volume by 65% in the 8 weeks, which was the duration of the campaign. So let's take a look at step two, which is activating your creators, specifically ones who reach your target demographic. So when you go about selecting creators to join your campaign, it can be tempting to look exclusively at how creators' existing content matches the tone and aesthetic of your brand. So by all means, that is a very important aspect. It's not critical to the success of a campaign, which I know might be surprising to most. The biggest factor, the main factor that brands should be considering when partnering with a creator is actually the demographic that creator's content reaches. So if your brand's customer profile matches that of a creator's following, and that creator already has a natural affinity and interest in your brand, then chances are they will be a strong partner in a campaign. So influencer marketing professionals can streamline their search by leveraging some of CreatorIQ's tools, such as CreatorIQ Discovery, which will help those professionals kind of surface new brand partners from CreatorIQ's broader ambassador database, and filter using specific things like keywords, hashtags, posting history, so that your brand can easily identify which influencers have followings that best match the audience you want to reach. So we love pairing, these tips with concrete examples so that you guys can understand how other brands that we've worked with have leveraged that. So in this case, iHeartMedia in 2019 sought to leverage their influencer network and consolidate its traditional and emerging channels across things like, radio, podcasts, and live events. So it successfully activated its creators whose audiences aligned with demographics for brands that they wanted to reach. And they partnered with CIQ to make that happen. So by utilizing CIQ's tools like our social CRM tool, which compiled data on all of iHeartMedia's radio and podcast talent into one dashboard, the brand was able to then track and expand its target audience and develop a pretty effective 360-degree marketing strategy that was inclusive of broadcast, streaming, events, and social media. So as a result, iHeartMedia gained a better internal understanding of its audiences across talent and real-time data across its creator catalog. And ultimately, it increased the reach of its campaigns by 1.42 million and its overall impressions by 1.9 million, which is pretty immense. And then we'll jump into the last step here, which is supporting creators to strengthen their impact. So to increase the impact of your brand's creator activations, you have to support your advocates, not only throughout the campaign's duration, but beyond the initial start date. So this support can take a couple different forms and is often campaign specific, but a few of the gestures that you could typically expect to see and want to provide are things like providing a clear view and specific instructions into how creators should be creating and developing branded posts. Another would be granting access to branded assets to help them create content for the campaign. Frequent check-ins via CRM tools is also crucial. And then just kind of keeping tabs on performance. If you notice an influencer kind of lagging, jumping in via CRM to kind of help understand, what you can provide to kind of, ease some of the struggles that they're facing during, the campaign. So once a campaign has been launched, it's important to know that support doesn't stop. It actually just ramps up. So keep tabs on, key creator KPIs like EMV, total posts, and engagement, which will allow your brand to monitor success and then pivot if needed. And then when creators feel supported and encouraged to stay true to their voice, the content that they create feels authentic and proves significantly more impactful from an ROI standpoint. So our last specific brand specific example today is Univision. So Univision was building out its influencer marketing program, and it identified a specific need for a more seamless and efficient way to collect data and distribute it. So they had a pretty vastly expanding group of employees and influencers, and they identified they needed better tools to track the KPIs and successfully manage their creator relationships. So on the back of a CIQ workflow solution, Univision built out a custom CRM with lists and talent-specific filters to streamline the collection of internal feedback and approval, which made creator management way more simple and effective for them. So as a result, Univision emerged as a leader in relationship-based influencer marketing, thanks in large part to its digital-focused Univision Creator Network, which was an in-house network and creative studio for digital creators. So taking a look back, some of the key takeaways, just so we can, nail them down. To build your own influencer marketing campaigns that succeed, these are the three steps you need to follow. Devise a strategic and measurable plan with specific campaign goals. Secure your target demographic by activating creators who can reach the audience you want to engage. And then lastly, provide consistent and meaningful support to activated creators, ensuring an effective campaign that meets your goals. Awesome. So that is our presentation. thank you so much for joining. We can hop into a couple questions and then, I can answer those for you guys, and yeah, we can move on from there. All right. So one question here. What are some of the tools influencer marketing teams can leverage to support their campaigns? Fantastic question. So it often depends on like what step in the campaign process you are in. So for example, if you wanted to source the right creators to participate in your campaign, within our platform, you would use the CreatorIQ influencer search tool to identify and then select platform and demographic specific creators. Say you already had an established list of creators you wanted to partner with on your campaign, then you could use CreatorIQ's CRM tool to then track and manage the key KPIs of those participating creators. And then, of course, CreatorIQ has a built-in campaign feature, which allows you to track reach, impressions, and engagement, and a few other key metrics across multiple campaigns. So, that feature itself would provide your team with a clear view into campaign performance throughout the duration of it. All right, here's another one. What is your all-time favorite campaign and a good example of influencer marketing? Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a good one. All-time favorite campaign. Let's take it back to the beginning. I was talking a lot about athleisure and, enjoying athleisure. So I do tend to keep tabs on athletic brands and the campaigns that they produce. And one brand that I consistently like that produces campaigns that are just super impactful and jaw-dropping is Nike, one of the biggest, sports brands out there. I think it was back in 2015 that they launched this #Better for It campaign, which is one of the first ones that comes to mind. Nike is just masterful at generating hashtags that I think the average person would use in like an everyday social post. So it's almost like the posts that people participate in, the campaigns that they participate in, they seem very genuine and unique. Like that person is just kind of posting about something that is meaningful to them. So this Better For It campaign, I remember, it was geared towards women, but like my sister participated. And yeah, it just generated an enormous amount of user generated content. So they ended up sourcing like a whole bunch of like micro influencers to participate in this campaign, which I think strayed away from, how they had traditionally used influencers. I think they'd used like mostly up until that point had been mostly using big name athletes. And so this was really focused on, the idea of like pushing and encouraging like everyday women to like, post about their accomplishments. So I think that one was a really, really cool one that I enjoyed. All right, let's take a look at some of these other. All right, we got another one. What is your suggestion for smaller brands with a smaller budget? Yeah, another fantastic question. So, I mean, this is, something that every brand is, kind of dealing with, even the bigger brands. You're always balling on a budget. So you're trying to figure out, the best way to get the biggest bang for your buck. So, when you're generating a campaign, I actually think, calling back to this, this Nike campaign that I was referencing is, sourcing UGC is a really effective way to generate a high impact campaign. So, if you can develop a campaign that you think everyday people will get involved, that's a really easy way to like cut down on costs. So you're not, necessarily throwing a whole bunch of money to big name creators, but you're actually leveraging and partnering with creators who, may just be starting their their business when it comes to, becoming an influencer and being a creator. So yeah, I think campaigns that can be centered around bringing in some of those smaller, lesser known creators is a really effective way at kind of balling on a budget, if you will. Let's see. Looking, let's see. Which platform do you see the most success in running campaigns for the Gen Z audience, TikTok or Instagram? Fantastic question. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be TikTok. TikTok is the fastest growing social media platform out there. The power of TikTok has been, proven, for the last year since it kind of blew up during the pandemic. We have a whole slew of content that's actually coming out. We think we have a whole report that's coming out in the coming days on TikTok specifically, that I think can speak a little bit more to TikTok and the power of it. But yeah, certainly for connecting with the Gen Z, TikTok seems to be the place to be when it comes to targeting that audience and reaching them. Sweet. So I think that is all we have time for. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys all tuning in for this webinar. We will have another one coming out soon. So yeah, keep tabs on your inbox for any information regarding that. And then, as I said, we have a whole slew of new content coming out, a lot of it TikTok focused. So yeah, I would continue to, refresh the CreatorIQ website, specifically the Research and Insights tab, which is updated frequently with our most recent reports. We also send those out via email blast and are very active on social media ourselves. So if you haven't already followed our CreatorIQ social channels, that'd be Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, I highly recommend you do. So yeah, thanks again so much. Really appreciate you taking the time to come hang out with me for a bit. And yeah, I really appreciate the questions you asked.